rape was one of the categories that was significantly reduced. Robberies, we have a reduction. Aggravated assaults, we have a reduction. Total violent crime, we're looking at a reduction of 3.6% so far this year as compared to last. Property crime is down across the board significantly on the burglary side, almost 24%. Total property crime is down 12.5%. So that gives us a total Part 1 crime reduction for the year to date of 11.1%. Shootings are down in the city. Reports of shots fired are down 14.6%. Numbers of victims shot are down just under 9%. All of our bureaus are showing a significant reduction in Part 1 crime. Valley Bureau has the largest reduction, and West Bureau has the smallest reduction. Officer-involved shootings, although it's very early in the year, are down significantly as compared to our start in 2013. So that's a positive thing. Gang crime is also down nearly across the board. Total gang crime reduction is 16.6%, being led by a reduction in gang homicides by just over a third. Personnel on payroll, we have 9,902 sworn personnel on payroll. That's about 120 short of our goal. Reserve officers, 267, level 1s, 21 level 2s, 189 level 3s, 371 specialist volunteers, 38 chaplain counselors, 2,804 civilian personnel on payroll with 543 vacancies. We also have approximately 4,005 cadets in our program, some of which are here today. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Chief.
Item 3, report of the Executive Director. Mr. Tefang.
Good morning, Mr. President, members of the Commission. No report today.
Item 4, report of the Inspector General. Mr. Bustamante.
Thank you, Commissioners. Just wanted to give the Commission a brief update on some restructuring within the Office of Inspector General's office. As you were previously aware, there were 3 sections in my office. One dealing with complaints, another one that was an audit section, and then we had a use of force section. To this, now that we've had an opportunity to review the operations of our office, I've collapsed audit section and the complaint section into one body and have now created a new section. It will be the special investigation and compliance section. One of the problems that we noticed with in the operation of the Inspector General's office is that we had just looked at use of force reports and were very the way we looked at it was very controlled. We'd have a use of force, we'd look at it, and we'd examine it through the cradle to the grave. We would also look at some of the employee-related complaints and audit some features. We lacked, though, the flexibility to look at emerging issues. We lacked the flexibility to kind of look at other areas within the department to examine whether things are being done in a manner, in a way that the Commission requires them to be. So this unit will have no other reporting requirement but to look at emerging issues within the department and examine them for the benefit of the Commission. They will look at everything from constitutional issues all the way to workplace-related issues. They will look from the P1 all the way to the Chief's office in determining different issues and then bringing them to your attention so that you can review and revisit those issues as you see fit. And subject to that major change to my office, I have nothing else.
I have a question for the Inspector General, or maybe Richard also. I'm very concerned about the hit and runs that are going on in Los Angeles. Every day we hear about. It seems like nobody when they hit something stops and pays and looks out for what takes responsibility for what they've done. And I'm just interested in an overview of process or what we can do better. Maybe there's nothing we can do, or what can we do for public awareness to try and bring witnesses forward. And I'd like to do that publicly. I think it's a serious issue, and I'd like to enlist the help of everybody up here to do that. Chief?
Well, Mr. President, the Los Angeles Police Department has the largest traffic divisions in the western United States, and we collect an inordinate amount of data. We would love to do a presentation to the Commission on hit and run and other traffic issues. This year, Chief Pasinger, the head of the Office of Operations, has declared that this is a year of traffic. You know, we've done such a remarkable job on crime, particularly violent crime, that we want to make sure that we're providing total service to as best as we possibly can to the people of Los Angeles. So we've shifted a number of resources to traffic this year, and I think that if you give us a short amount of time, we could prepare a report for the commission so that you get an idea of what we're doing.
I think that would be great. Now, again, I say this not saying that there's something that we should be doing different or could be doing different, but by raising the awareness to this crisis issue. It's a crisis for everybody that's involved, that's for sure. That maybe we can send a message or some sort of help call to the general public to where people will be more responsible for accidents. Thank you. Okay.
Item number 5.
Number 5.
Consists of information items and filed items relative to noise variances and special event permits submitted for the period ending February 14, 2013. Item number 6, presentations. Do we have any presentations?
Not today.
Item number 7 is consent agenda items. These items are considered to be routine and non-controversial, upon which the board is provided with adequate information for approval without inquiry or discussion.
We have a motion for approval of 7A, B, and C with thanks to the donors.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item number 8.
Item 8A is a verbal presentation. Would a commissioner wish to pull item 8B as special for discussion?
Yes, I think we should hear from the Inspector General, item 8B.
Great. Okay, 8A. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Elise Cahan, and I am the coordinator of one of the Police Academy.
Elise, can you speak into the microphone for the benefit of the microphone?
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Much better, thank you.
Great. I'm going to introduce myself again. My name is Elise Cahan, and I'm here on behalf of the Police Academy Magnet Schools. They're one of the juvenile programs that is a partnership between the Los Angeles Police Department and the Los Angeles Unified School District. I have a brief presentation for you that starts off with a video, followed by a couple PowerPoint slides, and if time allows, I'd love for you to hear from the cadets themselves.
There's time for the cadets, for sure. Now, we're going to watch on the screens in front of us, you guys, so you don't think we're ignoring the presentation, okay?
The mission is to prepare interested high school students for careers in law enforcement.
My role as an LAPD officer in University High School Police Academy Magnet is to educate the students and teach them about the principles of being a Los Angeles police officer and the Los Angeles Police Department core values. My goal as an officer is to teach the cadets to be responsible, respectful, and accountable for their actions. Whether or not they want to be police officers in the future, I want them to always carry these values with them.
As the Police Academy Magnet Counselor, my job is to monitor the students through their career pathway experience. It's also my job to ensure that students are not only academically successful and prepared for life after high school, whether it's college, a 4-year institution, a 2-year institution, or a job. In addition to that, it's so that they maintain a level of citizenship that is representative of the Police Academy. We really strive character and integrity.
My name is Adam Miguel, and I'm the Police Academy Cadet Captain. Some of my duties include overseeing the Police Academy and delegating responsibilities to other leaders or cadets for the benefit of the program.
taught me that anything you want is in reach for you as long as you have the will and courage to achieve it.
The Police Academy gives police officers the chance to build a bond with adolescents.
Many of the cadets in our program come from broken homes and don't have the structure of their daily lives. And the Police Academy program would really try to help guide them along the structure so that they can take that with them for the rest of their lives.
The Police Academy has taught me how to take control of situations, lead by my own, and respect where everyone's going.
The cadets in Reseda High School's Police Academy are a benefit to the program, the high school, and the communities they serve.
It is a win-win situation for all involved.
Good job.
Thank you. Briefly, Reseda High School Police Academy Magnets began in 1996, and they were the brainchild of former school board member and president Roberta Weintraub. We started off with 2 high schools. In 1998, we added 2 more. And currently, as you can see, we have 4 high schools and 2 junior police academy middle schools in the Los Angeles Unified School District. The mission behind these programs is twofold. We wanted to give students a structured course of study that simulates the police academy, where they model certain aspects. They're exposed to different dynamics of the police department. They are required to do community service and service learning projects, and to ultimately build relationships with the officers in the program. I will make note that just under 30% of the students at Reseda High School, and I'm going to iterate this because I work at Reseda High School, come from single-parent families. So in the case of Officer Cotty, he's really building a bridge for those kids. There are 3 primary aspects to a police academy magnet. We are both a magnet school, and we are controlled by the Office of Integration downtown. But we also have a second hat. We are part of a career pathway program and funded by a grant by the State Department of Education. And there are 3 components to this. The first component is the physical training aspect. We have a strong emphasis on physical training. The cadets in middle school take 3 years of it. At high school, they take 4 years of it. And this is the bulk of where the officer runs the class, goes through uniform inspections with the cadets once a week, and teaches lessons. Linked learning is a thematic approach in education that filters law enforcement throughout the program. This means projects in English, projects in social studies. We have specialized classes such as computers, and you saw a little bit of CompStat study on there. We have a state-of-the-art forensics lab that's to die for, and the kids do CSI. The last component is really the career pathway exposure. The grant wants us to introduce the students to a lot of guest speakers, take them on field trips, and expose them to the different job opportunities within the department. And lastly, these kids are held to community service requirements. They must fulfill 30 hours a year, 120 upon graduation. We have cadets that are approaching 2,000 right now. There's a lot to do, and the cadets really get involved and exceed that limit. There's also community service opportunities through internships at the various departments. And I will let you know that we have connected with West Valley, and Captain Egan has continued and done a remarkable job of letting our cadets work there through various internships on our winter, spring, and summer break. These are just a few pictures. Chief Beck, I had to show one of the composites of you because it's always so great. some of the real-life applications. I have some great quotes. Some might be long to really read at length, but I'm so excited about what we've done. We've taken a program that just attracts interested students. They're not gifted. We have some, but there is no academic requirement. We just ask that they want to be interested in learning through a law enforcement theme. And we've done some remarkable things. At Reseda High School, over the course of 10 years, we have not had lower than a 98% graduation rate.
Wow.
Our attendance rate has never been lower than 95%. And last year we produced 100% graduation rate and 100% college post-secondary placement. And I do have some stats in the packet. So without further ado, I've got another set of slides with some great quotes and great support. I would love to turn the program over to the officers and cadets and let them introduce themselves and encourage you to ask any questions that you like.
How do the Academy Magnets relate to our cadets program? There are many cadets that are not in the Academy Magnets.
Correct, and vice versa. Mm-hmm.
So some people are not, some of your attendees, enrollees, are not cadets. They're in this, just because you're in the program doesn't mean you're also in the cadets program.
Correct.
Okay,
the LAPD cadet program, correct.
Okay, got it.
We have many cadets that are, and we have a great relationship with West Valley and been helping them build up their cadet program. Our cadets are in school full-time during the day, and there is no reason why cadets can't be in both. They're not in conflict to each other. It's just a matter of whether the cadet can donate time.
Okay.
We advocate for that, and
got it.
have many that are.
Good.
All right.
So students apply through the Choices brochure every year?
Yes, they do. And I will tell you, at Reseda High School, we got the school district to increase our numbers to 200, and we still have waiting lists to get in.
Wow.
We don't want to let those students go. Between all 4 of the high schools and 2 middle schools, we have over 1,200 cadets.
Fantastic.
And many at the junior high schools do go on to the high schools themselves. All right, I'd like to turn this over and let the officers and cadets introduce themselves, and if you have any questions for them, please.
Great.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
I'm Officer Frias, and I'm Monroe High School.
Good morning. I'm the captain at Monroe High School. My name is Ayla Perez.
Good morning. I am the Lieutenant 1 at Monroe High School. My name is Magdalena Arroyo.
Good morning. My name is Tyler Duro. I'm the Lieutenant 1 at Mahala Middle School.
Good morning. My name is Ingles Barrera. I'm Lieutenant 2 at Mahala Middle School.
Good morning. I'm Lieutenant 1 from Reseda High School. My name is Nathan Mongo.
Good morning. My name is Lieutenant 2 Nunez, and I'm from Reseda High School.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Adam Miguel, and I'm the captain at Reseda High School.
Good morning. I'm Officer Cotty from Reseda High School.
Have a seat. Thank you. If there are no questions for any of the cadets or officers. They thought they were.
I want to hear from, really from each of you, of what caught your eye about this program and why you did it. You've jumped from a system that has 30 or 40% graduation to one that has 98%. And why did you make that choice? I don't want you to answer for them.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Come on.
Over here.
Come up to the microphone.
Over the microphone. Either way.
Oh.
There you go.
I want to tell you, Anna got a letter from UCLA. I'm going to interject this because in my 21 years of teaching, I've never seen this. They told her in consideration of her application, they wanted her to elaborate on what the police academy is and what her leadership duties are. So she's had to rewrite her statement.
Okay, so I began the police academy since 6th grade, and well, everyone knows that when you're starting middle school, you're kind of figuring out what you want to do and who you are as a person. And this program gave me insight on who I was, what would be my role in the future in terms of leadership. It developed my personality, my character. I matured at an early age, I believe, and that really helped.
I second that.
I wanted to continue the program because I developed many relationships with my peers, and we just formed a family tie that I believe would last really long, and it's very useful in the future because eventually you go back to those people and, you know, support each other in tough times, pretty much.
Good, okay. Now come on up here and stand up here, and then when you're all finished, we'll take a picture with you guys. So come on up.
Okay.
Good job.
Oh, well, good morning again. Well, the reason why I really joined the police academy, like my Captain Anna and like most of the cadets here, we started from the middle school program at Mulholland, and I really just became influenced by that program. I saw so many people go on to the high school, and then I saw so many people just achieve many things, you know, be part of the color guard team at both of the high schools and the middle schools, or be leadership, be ranked at the high schools. And it's just a very good experience. It's just a very good life lessons, and to be able to interact with the police officers around your area, know more about police work that many people don't know about police work because they're not informed. And luckily enough, for us, we are informed about what's going on in our neighborhood, and that can help us in the future and help the community ourselves, because we would know what to do at what situation. Maybe not interject, but we would have more knowledge, and that's what I think this program brings to us. It's the benefit of knowing what goes around in our community.
Good. Come on up.
Nathan created the video this morning. He's our video guru.
Good.
Morning. I joined the program because I've known that I've always wanted to become a police officer. So I wanted that theme of a police environment type of thing with the high school. I've joined since Mulholland Middle School when I was little. And it makes you, the program itself, it surrounds you with people who have the same desire as you, wants to learn. Like you said, coming from a place where it's only 30% graduation, you come somewhere where it's 98 and above. And these kids really want to learn with you, and they want to pursue the same career. So it's actually a great thing. And the teachers too, they're always onto you. They're always telling you to do the right thing. So the teachers are really helpful too. So it's a really great program overall.
Great.
I joined the program because in my future I want to be a police officer. I want to help the community as everyone does as a police officer. I really enjoy being in the program. It's pretty fun. It helps you learn to be respectful and responsibility. When I was in elementary, I never held my parents. But once I got to the program, I see how you develop and help your parents as in the house no matter what happens.
Wonderful.
Good morning. This is my first year in the police academy. I found out through the LAPD cadet program somebody in my platoon was in the police academy. But me in the police academy has given me a lot of leadership experience, communication, how to work with others. Before this, I wasn't really, before I wouldn't be able to come up and do this, but I've learned that, everybody has to get up, stand up, and speak in front of everybody.
You did a great job. You looked right at us. You were standing up straight. You spoke in the microphone. Your eyes are on fire, and you got it.
Thank you, sir.
So you come sit in my chair for a little while.
Good morning. I joined the Police Academy program because in my future I want to become a police officer, whether it be for the Los Angeles Police Department or any agency. Before I joined the Police Academy program, I wasn't the best student. I failed most of my classes. But once I got to the Police Academy program, the coordinator and the officer said that in order to stay in this program, I had to, get my grades up at least at a 2.0 average. And ever since then, I've become a leader. I am only a junior, and I hold the rank of a senior. I am also going to be in charge of a drill competition that is going to be held at our high school. I love this program because not only have I learned to be a leader, but I can also mentor the future cadets that come into the program as freshmen, juniors, or sophomores. And I can show them how to be a leader. I can pass down what I have learned. And it's just a fantastic program because, like Ms. Kane had mentioned, some of the cadets come in from broken homes. My parents were divorced when I was 5 years of age. I really never had a father figure. And when I got to the program, the officer was there. And he was like a father figure to me. So not only is he a mentor, he's also a role model, a father figure, and it's fantastic to know that even when everybody else has shut the doors to you, the Police Academy program is there to open the doors and lead you in the right way.
Beautiful.
Good morning. Just to backtrack as to what everybody else has said, we are like a small family. We are close-knit. I did go to middle school with a lot of the people from Reseda and from Monroe, so we do know each other pretty well. With this program, we learn to do many things that other students might not learn until after high school. We know what it's like to go into an interview and to have to give a straight answer, eye contact, everything else that you would need in order to get through a good interview. At Mulholland, I did go for that captain position, but it didn't really quite work out. Adam Miguel did beat me to it in middle school. And just with middle school alone, I'm pretty sure that the cadets you will meet at Mulholland or at Burbank, they're a lot more mature than a lot of the 10, 11-year-olds that you will meet in another middle school, including high schools too. We are all much more mature than it may seem.
Any questions of the cadets, anybody?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Oh, I just wanted to also plug the officers.
Yeah, now it's your turn, guys.
Joel and Dan. The officers get to know firsthand that teaching is not an 8 to 3 job, and they do a remarkable job with the kids. They are always accessible. They're a great resource. And without further ado, go ahead, Joel.
Okay, now it's our turn, huh? Well, thank you very much. Appreciate the confidence in us. But like these kids said, a lot of these kids come from broken homes, and we're the mentors and the father figures to these kids. And thanks to Chief Charlie Beck, who backs this program, it allows us to go out there and do that for the department and be able to expose these kids to the different activities that we have for our great department. And hopefully a lot of these kids will be joining the LAPD, not the other agencies.
And just to add to that, what Officer Frios was saying, it's been a great opportunity, I think, for us as officers. And you know, when I came on the job, I didn't expect myself to be in this position, working with the cadets. I thought I'd be in a black and white till the day I retired. But things change, and it's been one of the most beneficial assignments that I've had, and I've really enjoyed it. And when a kid comes up to you and he says, you know, I want to be just like you one day, Officer Cotty, it means a lot. And I feel that we do have such a big impact on their lives and their futures, and it's been a great pleasure to be part of it. Thank you.
Great. Okay, you guys each pick somebody to replace and sit in their chairs.
All right.
Picture. So who's taking the chief's chair?
I'll get my camera.
Who else? Who are you picking?
Somebody wants my job.
Okay.
Somebody wants my job. I got the hardest job here.
Hey, squeeze in, you guys. You got our camera people there? Anything you guys like to put your feet up or anything?
Like we do.
Okay, so let's do it. Do we have a... Okay, good. Everybody smile. Look, sit up straight, you guys, because it's hard to see over these computers.
Get it, Tammy?
Yeah, Tammy. Thank you, guys. Someday we expect you to be back up here, sitting up here, doing this to the next cadets.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great job. Great speech. Nice job.
And thank you, Chief Beck, for all you do, coming to our annual inspection and our graduation commencement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guy sat in my chair. I think he drank some of my Gatorade. Was that true?
Before they leave, I'd like to make one observation, if I can. Chief Pasinger? Chief, before they leave, I'd like to just make an observation about the cadets. I suppose in the short time that I've served on the commission, I've probably interacted with cadets maybe 10 times or so, but I think there's a corollary, and I don't necessarily have the factual information, but I'm hoping that this observation can be borne out. But I think the total number of active cadets and graduates is about 10,000. And I can't think of a better way that the city and the Ray Charles Foundation, which I believe underwrites a lot of the costs for the uniforms and the books and so forth, at least for the cadets. And then we have the magnet academies. What I wonder is if the involvement in the police academies and the magnet schools by the cadets is what's driving down the gang activity in Los Angeles. I think we're seeing throughout the city, and that's not to say that the gang activity has gone completely, but I think that giving young people their age role models and positive role models and families to belong to, not biological families necessarily, but families nevertheless, might be not only helping them as individuals, because to hear that UCLA is asking for more information about the magnet schools and the academy program, but I just think that this particular initiative should be held up as an example throughout our community, and to the extent that if we have 4,500 cadets now and combined with the magnets and the academy in general, we probably should be multiplying that by at least 100 or 1,000 or 10,000, because I think based on what they said today, their involvement in having a structured, positive relationship with institutions in our community is only going to make the entire community better. Your turn.
And for Commissioner Saltzman, I'll try to be brief. First of all, I got to tell you that the relationship between our department and the magnet program and also the POP program, there's a lot of synergy between the two. I think all of us share a kindred spirit in terms of the pennies, the nickels, and dimes that the chief allows this organization to invest in the lives of the youth. This is not a Madoff scheme. This actually pays very powerful dividends, as you can see from these young people and from your observations of the LAPD cadets. To the question of whether or not it's helping to drive down gang crime and crime as a whole, it's my strong opinion that that is in fact part of the case. I mean, it has a lot to do with just good, downright, everyday fundamental policing. It has to do with technology, has to do with the CompStat accountability process. And along with that, you should know, and I think you'd be pleased to know, that I've had conversations here in the recent past, as of like last week, with Chief Jacobs in terms of actually geocoding the addresses where the cadets live, ostensibly for the purposes of finding out in a very real way where these young people are coming from, because I would assert that where they live has a direct correlation to where some of our gang crime and other community issues are occurring. And so we're actually going down that track as opposed to just arbitrarily recruiting young people. I think there's a lot to be said from an academic, empirical perspective in terms of really focusing on where we're recruiting our young people. Having said that, it's not by accident or chance that we're starting to see this seismic explosion of young people in all of these youth programs. There's something in the neighborhood of about 30,000 of them across the landscape of LAPD youth programs. And I think that draws a very strong nexus between the work that the department is doing, along with the degradation of crime as a whole.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I want to say that these programs are popping up, and our Police Academy magnets are considered the model. We've had people visit us from Israel, Rochester, New York. I've helped some school districts and police departments within the state. I'm currently working with Compton Unified, who is planning on starting up a program, and I think that's great.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Okay,
we have a comment card on this item. Jabral Mohammed.
morning, Commissioners, Chief Paysinger. My comment has everything to do with public safety. You know, the Academy producing future officers. And I would like very much to hear their comments in regards to current events as to the officer-involved shootings. And every week we are confronted as a part of the agenda, and it's always a closed session for some reason, with an officer-involved shooting, and these are the officers to be. And I would very much like to know what their approach would be towards the citizenry, and hearing from them, just like they gave the report today, and as to how we can bring about some resolve, and when they look at the landscape of misconduct, what their intentions are in terms of not being a part and parcel of such conduct. So it was a great report, well presented. And everyone involved should be commended with wanting us to know. And my prayers are that, the people's side of it can be addressed as well, and we want to know what our future leaders intend to do so that, we are not subject to the risk management in regards to, and I know it's cut down to a zero. We have no prior Academy members involved in any misconduct because of their prior introduction. So, but this is crucial, and I must raise this issue. Like I said prior, this is not a popularity contest. This needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 8B, Inspector General's report dated February 12, 2014, relative to the review of the categorical use of force policy.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm going to be waiting just a brief moment for my Assistant Inspector General, Django Sibley, to be seated at the table in front of the dais, and also Special Investigator Camelia Naguib from my office. Commissioners, a while ago, a case, Hayes versus the County of San Diego, came out involving the manner in which uses of forces were examined in a negligence case involving officers and those lawsuits that did go to court. When we looked at that case, it prompted the Inspector General's office to look at our own internal processes and determine first, when did the current system come about and what was the impetus for that, and how was it designed? And second of all, we were to examine the custom and practice of what this commission has done in cases before it in the last several years that either myself or Django Sibley has been here and monitoring the commission's adjudication of these matters. And just to clarify what I think it come out in the press recently, in some fashion, the commission has already been examining a lot of these cases in the very way that's described in our report, and we've been doing it for, the commission's been doing it for a very long time. When we went to look at the genesis of the current system, we went all the way back to Ewell Love and determined that that's when this commission had created the 3 separate categories that we normally analyze and adjudicate, that the commission adjudicates these categorical uses of force. Those 3 categories were the tactics, drawing, and shooting categories. And so when we looked at what the commission back during the Hayes period of time was looking for, we determined that they were looking for a more total analysis of the uses of force before them so they could get a better picture of where there may be a tactical deficiency or where there may be some other deficiency within the shooting and be able to evaluate it more holistically. We then examined, as I just mentioned a second ago, the practice before the commission. And we've seen that from that period, from the period that I've been here and from our analysis, that the commission has been looking at those 3 categories, but in the most exceptional of cases, and what we analyze that to be is less than 1% of those cases. The facts and circumstances were so rare, so exceptional, that they required the commission to kind of not isolate its analysis to just the use of force, but to look at all the relevant factors surrounding that particular shooting, to examine it and be able to determine whether or not they believed it to be reasonable. And a lot of times when that was occurring, it was actually to the benefit of the officers because there were facts and circumstances that weren't captured in that moment in time that that added a component to the analysis that allowed everyone to kind of examine everything in a total picture. And when I was referring to the 0.5% of the times that we've analyzed that is strictly the times that the Commission has found a shooting unreasonable based upon this total analysis of facts and circumstances that kind of sprung forward during the Hayes case and was definitely mentioned during the Ewell Love Commission's period of analysis. Just wanted to clarify that in what we see with our analysis, with the Inspector General doing our kind of historical analysis, we see that, as I just previously said, 99.5% of the time, if I was going to give a number, the time the analysis of the Commission and the Department is appropriate, that the item should just be tactics and not a use of force, or just be a drawing, or just be a use of force because in that moment in time we're analyzing it ends up being inappropriate. That this analysis that is being clarified here and that has already been in existence is meant just for those very rare circumstances where the circumstances essentially created the need for the deadly force, and not those circumstances where there's just a mere tactical deficiency, where someone didn't go code 6 or someone didn't do some things that they probably should have done for the tactics category. Those, in our review of the cases and based upon our analysis of Hayes and of past practices from the Commission, those would still be a tactical only consideration. And some of the other items would just clearly fall into that category because they don't rise to that exceptional level that requires that kind of total analysis and examining the reasonableness of the shooting. To clarify some of the exceptional circumstances that we've seen without going into too much detail with it because I'm precluded from doing that, it wouldn't, just to reiterate, it would not be a circumstance where an officer just failed to follow basic tactical concerns, and it's not meant as an overreaching opportunity to capture more of those and make them out of policy. That hasn't been the practice, and that's definitely not the intent of this. The intent is to clarify, as we said, those exceptional circumstances where if the officer had followed policy and procedure and had done everything that they should have from the outset, that we would not have had this shooting. And that is not to say that they contributed to it, that they were the sole cause of it. Was the items that we had saw in our historical analysis of the shootings. And again, it's a very rare circumstance. The Commission has already been doing it during our analysis. And the language that we propose actually comes from a collaborative effort with the department and with the city attorney. I think a lot of people sat down and thought about these issues and how to best implement this. I want to thank the department for all their efforts in helping clarify this and try to find a manageable working way going forward, as well as the city attorney. But I think what we have here is, although it's been spun in the newspaper as being a new product, it's actually a clarification of an existing one, and one that won't alter or increase, I believe based upon our historical analysis, the future adjudications of uses of force. This will just clarify what's already been happening. And subject to that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
The specific language will come forth as an amendment to the document. That will be the department will amend the document if we move forward, and then bring back the document for approval. Is that correct, or it's automatically approved?
Good morning, Commissioner. Captain Sergeant, Use of Force Review Division. Yes, that's what will occur. We'll change the use of force policy to include this language, and it'll come back to you.
Okay. Questions? Commissioner Saltzman.
Sure. Thank you. I do have a couple of comments and questions for the Inspector General. Excuse me. As he did, I want to begin by thanking him, the department, and the city attorney for this effort. The result, the report we received from the Inspector General, I think is comprehensive, it's clear, it puts the policy itself and the clarification proposed in the historical context, which I think, given the LAPD's history, many in the department would agree with me that it's important that we understand where this is coming from. So I want to thank the Inspector General, his office, and the department for its assistance and cooperation, and the city attorney for its assistance and cooperation as well. I think on an issue like this, in the not far too distant past, that cooperation would not have been at the level we've seen in this case, and I appreciate it and acknowledge it very much. Thank the Chief for that. Second, I'd like to talk a little bit to set the context for this and then ask the Inspector General to tell me if I'm correct, and if I am, to expand on it a bit. And I have 2 points to make with respect to the context. The first is it's easy for us, given that our focus is the LAPD, and doing what we can to make it as good as it can be and make it better. But it's easy for us, because of that focus, to forget how progressive the LAPD is, that the LAPD is already a national leader, if not the national leader, in self-analysis, in improvement, and the amount of comprehensive review that the LAPD does regarding a categorical use of force is extraordinary. And what we're talking about here is a clarification of one piece of that. And I think it's important to keep that in mind. To keep in mind this clarification is just one part of a system of self-analysis that the LAPD does that very few other law enforcement agencies do to the same extent. And to me, that helps put this clarification in the appropriate context. And that's one of my questions when I finish for the Inspector General, as if he would comment about how the LAPD process compares with the process in other departments. Second, I just want to reiterate what the Inspector General said and what the report says very clearly, that this is a clarification in the existing policy. Some who take a look at it briefly and don't focus on the context or the details of what are in the policy might think this is a big change or a major shift or using similar language. And I disagree with that. This is not a big change. It is not a major shift in policy. It's a clarification of our existing policy. It makes explicit in our existing policy what has been implicit in our existing policy. And we know that because, as the Inspector General said, on prior occasions we have followed this policy. This is, in fact, a clarification. Clarification is the right word. By clarifying the policy, we are making it clearer. It's clearer that on inappropriate occasions, when we are considering a use of force, it's appropriate for us to look at the entire circumstances, which include the tactics which led up to the use of force. As the Inspector General said, it's an extraordinarily small number of cases, very small percentage of cases, but an approach we have taken in the past. And what we're doing here is making clear that that's what we can do and will do on those few cases when it's appropriate. So if I might just ask the Inspector General if you could comment on what I said or correct me if you think I'm wrong, particularly talk a little bit about how the overall LAPD review policy compares with what other departments do.
I'd be happy to, Commissioner. I'm not aware of any local, state, or federal review process that's as robust as the LAPD's process in reviewing categorical uses of force. From having specialized units that go out and examine everything on the ground to that have detective experience and follow very strict protocols to ensure that the evidence, whichever way it goes, is collected and examined, to the use of force section that analyzes the tactics and all the issues at length, and that put together a report for the chief's analysis, and then the system where we will review everything and do our own analysis, so that we have that the commission has the benefit of looking at two reports and examining different perspectives for the same shooting. I'm not aware of anything in the country, any law enforcement agency that does it to this degree. The other thing I would add too is that, as you can imagine, a lot of what happens with the policies in the department, this is a living, breathing, growing organization, and it has been my experience with dealing with the chief on this issue and his representatives, as well as those sections. They are constantly looking at those issues and re-examining them and trying to make this a better process and adapting to the emerging issues that come up, whether it may be policy or something else. So I think your comments are directly accurate and on point, that as far as the patrol department goes, I'm not aware of anyone that does it to this degree or does it this well. And to reiterate the second portion of your comments as far as the limited scope on this, and it is a clarification, I think if people have read the report, opposed to reading a newspaper article on this, if they read the report, they will see that there's actually a specific there's specific language in there talking about how this has been done before and has been done in very rare and exceptional cases. So this isn't the circumstance where this is something brand new that is happening and everyone's going to hear about it for the first time because it's going to start tomorrow. It's been happening for nearly a decade, and it's been happening in those very, very rare cases. And when I mean rare, I was not kidding with the 0.5%. If you look at the yearly categoricals, whether it be 120 or 140 a year, you're talking one that this might be a case, a circumstance in which it'll get this review. And as I had mentioned before, this review, the total analysis, actually, I would say, assists the commission in viewing this circumstance in the total package, and a lot of times will show that there are plenty of justifications for the officer's use of force, and that might not be reflected in just that tiny moment of time. But by giving a bigger backdrop to this will allow the commission and everyone else to realize that this officer is operating within the policy because they've had that benefit of looking at this picture. That happens much more than the 0.5%. That happens many times over. And I think you're absolutely accurate. It's a clarification. That language was worked on with the assistance of the department and the city attorney's office. I've told, we've talked with the department and with the city attorney's office on some of the adjudication language that might come, and I think we're going to sit down and work, as we always have, work together and have honest and frank conversations going forward. But the collaborative aspect of my relationship with the department, I'd say, is excellent, because I would not be able to have the relationship that I do and be able to make the recommendations that I have with you if I did not have the department as kind of a willing partner in this. And it takes a lot of credit to the department to have someone like myself in my office looking over their shoulder on everything they do and welcome that review, and then also be willing to kind of adapt and improve on their operations based upon some of the collaborative discussions that we've had. So I agree with both your points, sir.
Thank you, and I thank you for that. And I also, again, just want to thank Chief Beck for his leadership, which has created this cooperative relationship, which helps us do what we're trying to do, which is to make the LAPD as good as it can possibly be. Thank you.
Commissioner Kim.
Thanks. I just had a couple comments also that I'm grateful for the role of the IG's office to ensure not only that the LAPD continues to enforce the law, but also recognizes laws that apply to the LAPD, and then and develop standards for adhering to those laws. And I've read the Hayes case. It's a pretty important tort case, and I teach tort law, and I really appreciate the IG's office analysis, comprehensive analysis, and thoughtful approach to it, and additionally also the collaborative approach that the IG is taking with the with the department and also the city's attorney's office to propose this amendment. And I also wanted to just emphasize again what the IG just spoke about, that a more expansive view of adopting this totality of circumstances approach will more often than not include a recognition of the positive tactical decisions that yield in policy categorical use of force decisions in cases of officer-involved shootings. And in our short time in my short time on the commission, this is all I've seen. And I very much appreciate this modification that reflects strict adherence to what the applicable legal standards are under the Hayes decision. Thank you.
Commissioner Madison? Okay. I'd just like to say that, post-consent decree, the LAPD continues to be out front on these types of clarifications. And that's what, that was the wishes and the hopes, and we continue on. And I think that's a credit to the department and Office of Inspector General, et cetera. Even as rare as something like this, and with 120-some thousand arrests a year in the city of Los Angeles, is that a close number?
I believe that is.
You're talking about one out of 120,000, because only 1% of those.
It's about 1%.
Yeah, only 1% of the 400 a day are have any sort of use of force. So this shows what we're doing right. And again, I think post-consent decree, as rare as it is, it shows that this LAPD continues to distance itself from most others on these types of clarifications moving forward, and I congratulate. Comments? Okay.
We have a public comment card on this item, Mr. President. Jabral Muhammad.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Chief, this is Jabral Muhammad for Bismillah, the Justice Movement. First of all, I would like to disagree with Mr. Schultzman as far as clarity is concerned. The terms that we're using are confusing. I was, for lack of a better term, blessed to come to know Inspector General Max Huntsman. And in our conversation, he was telling me that, Muhammad, violence is a part of law enforcement. Well, I'll paraphrase that. Force is a part of it. If you were to ask one of those youngsters out there who we want to, the community, everybody wants to separate themselves from, if they saw somebody calling into their car, they would make an effort to stop it with their hands. Okay? You stop it. That's force. So we're not talking about the use of force. We need force to stop people from doing wrong. We're talking about the excessive force. Now, here, the IG, I don't know how old you were when the rule of love was slain. Okay? But you spoke of a very important word. You used the word tactical. How was it expressed? Tactical concerns. If tactical concerns, okay, now this is the clarity. We want to know what they are and how they're implemented, and we want this. You say if tactical concerns were implemented, if rule of love would have not happened. You got tasers, you got all kind of things. That was a woman with a knife. You had two grown men, and they chose to shoot her down. So I don't know how you were, Alexander, at the time, okay? But tactical concerns is what you made mention of. So this is the clarity. We're talking about excessive force, okay? The ladies that were killed, from rule of love to shooting a 71-year-old woman in a van, shooting 100 rounds. Thank you.
Thank you. We need a motion for...
If you're ready for a motion, I have.
Yes.
No other comment cards on this item.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have a motion that has three parts. First, to approve the Inspector General's report in 8B, and specifically, I'm going to read a sentence from page 21.
Right.
The Inspector General recommends that this matter be corrected by clarifying the policy to include that adjudicators may consider, quote, the tactical conduct and decisions leading up to the use of deadly force, end quote. 2, instruct the chief to update the department policy as recommended by the Inspector General. And 3, ask the chief to bring the updated policy back to the commission for approval in 2 weeks.
Second.
All those, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry?
The people object.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, item 9, public comment. Jabral Mohammed.
Thank you.
This public comment, this is Jabril Muhammad for Bismillah, the Justice Movement. This public comment has everything to do with public safety. Okay, we got a report in regards to IG's interfacing with the misconduct. We're asking for an audit. We want a people's commission, and we nominate Bismillah to the Justice Movement to be in charge of said audit, to be budgeted to audit the IG and his claims and his reports, so that the people can be given a clear understanding as to how the misconduct is managed, how it's considered, and how it's ruled on. We're left in the dark. There's so much closed sessions going on. We have one today where 8 policemen are, well, it says 8 officers. I don't know if they were the dogs or if they were policemen, because the dogs are just as considered just as much as the policemen. So if you be there, the people, we don't know who's, dog might have bit somebody. We don't know. But the point being here is that we're asking for an audit. We're making motion and a request to audit the IG so that the people can get a clear understanding as to exactly what is going on regarding these misconduct reports. And again, I say, Bismillah will have no problem, the Justice Movement will have no problem with taking on such an assignment. And thanking you very much.
We are now at item 10, closed session items. The Board of Police Commissioners will now recess into closed session to discuss item numbers 10A and B in accordance with various government codes.
Okay.
I'm Shannon Lamert Park. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35, our city, our channel.
Hello, welcome to Connie Martinson Talks Books. It is a difficult subject we're going to talk about today because it isn't easy to describe who you are, and especially when you have to fill out forms that say, are you Caucasian? Are you African American? Are you Chinese? Are you Korean? And in certain cities, no one knows who they really are, because love has a strange way of, as well as sex, of making the product of that moment be a little of each. Maybe we all are. My guest today, Sunday Tucker Frazier, has written Check All That Apply, Finding Wholeness as a Multiracial Person, published by InterVarsity Press. Welcome, Sunday, and thank you for opening up both yourself as well as your sociological questions to others.
Thank you for having me on the show. I'm glad to be here.
Tell me about InterVarsity, where you and your husband work.
Well, we used to work for InterVarsity. I was involved in this Christian ministry when I was a student at University of Southern California for 4 years, and then went on to work with the organization because it had impacted my life so deeply, and worked there for 10 years. It's a campus ministry where we work with students on campus, helping them explore spiritual questions, develop as people, and become contributing members of their society once they leave, really wanting people to think about these kinds of questions deeply: race, justice, and how are they going to use the gifts and the skills and the education that they have to really benefit the world around them.
Problems of being biracial. When you say in the book your grandparents never met until you were born.
Yeah. Actually, they did meet right before me, but I think I was a
The
big part of it.
catalyst?
Yes, I was
Yeah.
the impetus, because until I was conceived, there was really no reason for these two different families to come together. My parents met in college. My white grandparents were really against the relationship.
They were Norwegian.
Yes, of Scandinavian background, that's right. And actually really kind of pressured my mom to leave college and leave my dad. Didn't want her to have anything to do with him. I found all this out much later when I was 21. And so it was really a secret in my family. Now my grandparents will admit this, but they've changed so dramatically. I mean, they changed really, I think, in the moment that they found out they were going to have a grandchild. And so I see my existence as something that has brought people together. And though there are difficulties with being biracial, I wouldn't want to be anything other than what I am, a product of people from across racial lines that in this country are very strongly set, and people don't cross those lines even to this day very much.
You have a chapter about if you are biracial, or if you have a child who